welcome to UML Operator Extras. What we're going to do is spend a little bit of time diving down into Inspector. So Inspector is a tab that you see on or in the browser window. This is the default Sparx layout. So I've done that because most people that are just starting out in Sparx, the modelers will have their tool layout looking something like this, where browsers on the left, properties on the right, and notes on the lower right. So we're going to focus on extras. Now, this model that we have in our work area, this is our workspace with all the window layout, is one that we've shared over the past year. So this diagram is using custom drawing. There's a video on that. It's the same elements as the elements you see in this block diagram. These are the same elements that you see in this class diagram that has more details that are exposed. So when we're looking at this model and we have Inspector on, if you select any elements, you see that there are there's one relationship that's right now, this one right here, it's one relationship. There are a few internal requirements. There's an attribute, analytics, it's an integer, and there's an operation. So if we go to this model, we look at the same element called internet. We see that, well, we're inspecting the element and those are the same elements, right? Same thing with load balancer. In this case, we see that there's a couple of relationships, and so on. So when we go to the class diagram that has the attributes, the operations, any receptions or anything that's included, any internal requirements, if we double click into this element, we can see there are 3 internal requirements, and they're really just responsibilities at this particular point. We're able to see those using the Inspector. Recently, we did a video series on business process modeling notation. You can go back. I'll try to include a link to that series. But when we're inspecting the elements here, you can see that there are relationships, associations, relevance between this start element and other things. So there's 3 link elements to notes. There's a control flow element in here. There is 3 requirements. Yes, 3 external requirements. And as I show in that, you can drag and drop from the Inspector such elements. And let's go back to it. There are 3 or 4 internal requirements that we're inspecting within this element. So there's a few internal requirements right here, and you can see the 3 external requirements that have been moved to the requirements management. There's also constraint. There's some scenarios that are included here, and there are some test cases that have been auto-generated. And again, we did that in that video. So why do we need Inspector? How does it work and what does it do? So when we select any element and you understand that Sparx is a thick client tool sitting over a SQL database, all this data can be mined to draw out or render what is in or from that database. So when you select an element, it's in a specific table called TObjects, and it has a unique identifier. It has an object ID. Everything is an object within Sparx database, and it is connected to other tables that provide other information. So we have T connectors, which is going to show the relationships from this particular element or object. Same with any object or element that is in a model. So there's the connector table. There's requirements that are internal. So you can see that there are several requirements that are in here, or responsibilities that are associated or relevant to this element. There are attributes, there are operations. all of this is represented within the SQL database that sits behind either your local Sparx instance, or if you're in the cloud, or over in a SQL database, whether it's Microsoft SQL, Oracle, MySQL, Postgres. Sparx supports a lot of different technologies. So that's Inspector, how it works. I typically have my work area laid out in another manner where I have toolbox on the left. You've seen this throughout this channel. I have the browser where I've brought in Pan and Zoom, and Inspector comes in from the default layout and can be applied at any time simply by going into the Start menu, hitting Design, and here you can see you can get to the Browse window. From this, you can also get to the Inspector. Go right to Inspect or Inspector. So Inspector has within it 4 tabs. You have the details, you have Trace, which is similar to Traceability window that's down below. You have Summary, which provides summary details, any information that you put in, and then it has Status. So in this particular case, this means this element is proposed. If you were to go into this element and you change the status to something like implemented, we're going to hit apply. You can see the status color changes. So you can very quickly get to the details relevant in mining the data that's under each element, and you can get to a plethora of other intelligence relevant to any element within your project, diagram, or model. Thanks very much for watching this clip. This is part of our extra series, which dives down a little deeper than the longer form content that we have. Hopefully I'm spending less than 5 or 10 minutes doing this. Sometimes I might run over. It depends on what the extra topic is about. So if you have any questions or concerns, please comment down below. Good or bad, give us feedback. The subscribers have been absolutely supportive, and I appreciate that very much. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Turn on notifications to know when content is coming out for you. And until the next time we all talk, happy modeling.